Hi folks, welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me. So today we're continuing with another look into the classic vintage Matchbox kits, the pocket money kits range, the purple range, with another great iconic aircraft. Today it's the P47D Thunderbolt. A much underrated aeroplane, I think it would be fair to say, overshadowed by the likes of the Mustang of course, and the Spitfire and maybe the Typhoon even. But this aircraft, along with the Typhoon which I mentioned, these were the critical two planes actually in the Second World War, especially on the Western Front after D-Day, in striking at enemy railways, supply lines, tank columns, armour, air bases and everything else. And the Thunderbolt was a very, very tough aeroplane. It could take a hell of a beating. Probably the toughest plane. In fact, you know, if I was in that scenario of having to choose, probably would choose the Thunderbolt to go into that sort of war scenario over everything else available at the time. Not the fastest, not the most manoeuvrable, but if you got into trouble, this plane often came back from missions shot to bits and still made it back, you know, with lumps of it missing and chunks of wing missing and tail missing and fuselages full of holes. Any other plane, Spitfires, Mustangs, would have gone down in flames. A really, really great plane. They call it the Juggernaut, the Jug for short. It also looks a bit like a jug, I think. Sort of imagine the handle on that side. It's such a big sort of engine. Remarkable aircraft and a great kit. Anyway, this is the PK-22 from the Matchbox range. It did have a price on here, but it seems to have disappeared. I think it might have it. Do you know what? It's 30p, I think it is. Is that right? Can you see this? See if I can get the camera to pick up on this. You might pick on it better than my eyes can with the camera. You look very, very carefully at this. Does it say £1.30 or 30p? I think it says 30p, just above where my thumb is. It's very faint. I think it says 30 pence. Which is exactly what you'd expect it to be priced at. And this is an original as well, so this is from 1974. It says so on the back. Anyway, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. Here's the quite attractive, and again, don't know why they've done it in blue. They do some strange colours. Dark blue, pale blue. Great for navy planes. It doesn't seem to work on this. But it looks very nice. Obviously, if you don't paint it, folks, that's what you'll end up with. On the other side, we've got some adverts there of other products, including the Messerschmitt 262 Swallow, which we've already reviewed, and the Nat from the Red Arrows, Hawker Hind, which we haven't seen, and the Tempest, which we've also seen. So, let's have a look at the back, see what the artwork is like. And what we've got here is, yeah, it's 1974 as I say, it's mentioned here, and we've got the 404th Fighter Group, US Air Force in England. It's probably somewhere like Halesworth in Suffolk, because they used to operate in Suffolk a lot, these squadrons. And then underneath we've got another squadron, 373rd Fighter Group, also England, but it doesn't say where unfortunately. Again, probably Suffolk or in Essex, somewhere down there. Let's have a look what's inside the box then and see what sort of a kit we've got here. We've had one or two mixed results with the Matchbox recently. We've had one or two that have been really horrible and a couple that have been amazing, so let's have a look. Oh, canopy's fell out. There we go, we'll start with that, shall we? Here's your canopy. As you can see, it's still on its original stub. This is the Razorback, the Razorback Thunderbolt, so hence it's got the it hasn't got the bubble style canopy, it's got the frame style. Very nice. It looks actually very clean and very clear without much in the way of scratches. It looks quite nice, that one. Very, very fresh looking. Then we've got our ubiquitous Lesney Matchbox model stand, which we all really like, I think. We wish that would make a return with some of these smaller kits. So, you know, Armour Hobby, Airfix, please all take note. And we've got a couple of sprues and instructions. So, we will have a look at the instructions, I think. And the decals no doubt will fall out. There they are. Yeah. Quite simple stars and bars really, isn't it? Couple of invasion stripes as well. I think you'd be better spraying those personally, but those are in really nice condition actually, so you could use them. You could use those today, no problem at all. Fine condition those. So, let's have a look what it says then. So So it says the Thunderbolts entered active service in April 43 and it was the largest, heaviest single-seat propeller-driven fighter of World War II. A monster, hence the name Juggernaut as a nickname. Many of the top aces in the American Air Force attained their victories whilst flying Thunderbolts. Yeah, because they survived, yeah? So they could shoot the enemy and the enemy shot at them and this thing could take the punishment and not go down in flames unless it was hit in a critical position. Affectionately known as the Flying Jug. 15,683 were produced by the time production was terminated, and it got the aircraft the distinction of being the most numerous of all American fighter types. I didn't know that. Didn't know that. I would have thought the Warhawk or Kitty Hawk would have had it, or even the Mustang. The P-47s operated in all theatres, but their outstanding range made it a formidable opponent in combat. Yeah, and the armour. They were very well armoured, as I've said. Anyway, let's have a look. On the back we have got your little call-outs for your small parts. Wheels and tyres, gear legs, engine. You've got the back of the engine, the front of the engine, radial engine obviously. And we've got propellers and tips. Your 50 cal machine guns, got 8 of those. Wow. This would really chew you to pieces if this got on your tail, I'll tell you that now. As many Focke-Wulf 190 pilots in the Luftwaffe have found out to their cost. Then you're painting the inside of the cockpit area, and also they're going a bit further with it, aren't they? They're doing these seats around area as well. The pilot, and there's a bomber version. Cool. Then you've got your rather boring Humbrol call-outs, and then we get straight into the actual build. So what have we got? We've got the pilot going into his seat, going into the two halves of the cockpit, all very conventional stuff, building up your engine with your front and your rear. I'm just trying to think what the engine was. Sorry, I've just hesitated. It's not a Wasp, is it? This one? I don't think it's the Wasp. Experts among you, I'm sure it was a Pratt & Whitney, but I can't remember which model it was. But it was a big, meaty juggernaut of an engine, and again, massive power. Huge prop as well, huge four-bladed prop. Anyway, that goes in. Put on your tail planes. Then you're on to popping that onto the front to unify it with the fuselage, putting in your canopy. Then you've got to build up your wings, bringing them together, and put your 50 cal machine guns in there. Then you've got your undercarriage. You can have it closed or open, and you have a bomb, option of a bomb on either wing, so it's 2 bombs. That's cool. That is good news. Putting in your gear, obviously you can have it closed if you wish at the bottom, just to shut it up and put it on the stand, which is, you know, as I said before, it's something that I think we'd all like to see a little bit more of that. These stands make a lot of sense, especially on a small scale kit. I think that anything frankly 48th or smaller, we ought to have a stand from all the manufacturers, unless there's something very, very odd about it, you know. But I think certainly at 72nd it's an absolute must. So manufacturers, please bring stands back. Airfix in particular, you're the guys that are really, you know, offering it as a separate. No, we don't want to do that. Just include a simple stand like you used to do years ago. Anyway, moving on, let's have a look at these sprues, see what we think of them. So this is a very dark blue. I hope it's going to come out on the camera okay. Very dark blue indeed. A really, yeah, nice. The only complaint I've got is there is some raised panel detail here, which is a bit unfortunate, if we're honest. And this is reminding us of that Matchbox Warhawk, Kitty Hawk we saw recently, which that was absolutely horrible. It had everything was raised apart from the tail, which made no sense at all. And it really looked horrible. It felt horrible, and it was just no, not nice. But anyway, we have got some here. I'm hoping we haven't got any on the wings, but down the side they're going to go for raised. You've got your 50 cal guns here and here. Obviously you've got your cowling. It's a little bit loose on the sprues, got to be a bit careful. Pilot and seat. Here are your bombs over here. Zoom in a bit more so you can see that a bit clearer. We've got the big, huge four-bladed Hamilton prop and your undercarriage, and then over here we've got the tail wheel as well, and the aerial. So your supercharger exit exhaust here door. Yeah, it's quite nice. It's just a shame about that raised panel one. They haven't done it on the tail, thankfully. Just done it down the side here. Bit unfortunate. Anyway, Oh, that's nice. Let's have a look at the other one. There we go. This is nicer. This is not raised panel line, it's all recessed, which is great news. So that's a real relief. I see they've got like an insert style in terms of the way that they've figured the top and bottom of the wings, and that seems to work. And I like the way they've done the engine. That looks really sharp and crisp. Actually, I don't know if you can pick that up with the camera, but it is really rather nice. Actually, that's a very detailed looking little engine for its what it is. And as I say, there's no horrible raised panel lines. It's all recessed here, which is really nice. So, what do we think about that then? Certainly that's a decent sprue. That's given me a bit more optimism than I was getting from the first one. I think we'll let it off that, because it's only that fuselage side. You could probably rub that down, or they're not overly raised either. They're not really raised like the one on the Kitty Hawk Warhawk. They were awful. They were really extreme. That's quite nice. I like that kit actually. I think that'd build into a really nice Razorback. So 9 out of 10. I think I'm a bit generous, but 9 out of 10 for that. I think that's okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. It's certainly got a nice bit of artwork on it, and it says here that they're train busting. I didn't explain that. In the artwork, which is from our friend Roy Oxley, another work of artistic genius from him. Just a last quick little look at this. It's train busting in the marshalling yards of the French railway, and it says American Air Force train busting prior to D-Day, 6th of June 1944. So they're knocking out all the railways and the lines so that the Germans can't reinforce the invasion beaches in the west of France, northwest of France. Very nice artwork, to be fair. A lovely kit. I'm going to stand up for some reason. There you go. Lovely kit. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you give me 9 out of 10 at least. Thumbs up. And then please don't forget to subscribe. If you are a subscriber, don't forget to ding the notification bell, because that way you get alerted about all the new vids that are coming up. I hope to see you again soon. We've got a small handful left still to go out of the Matchbox Classics, and I hope to bring you those in the not too distant future. In the meantime, thanks for joining me, and bye for now.